Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pernell Bobby. You're back once again because you want to create an incredible sex life. There goes the immaturity within me. Leveraging astrology. That's why you're here. I'm going to help you to use this full moon to see what has come to illumination. Full moons are a moment of illumination, right? 6 months ago. So that's about back in April, I believe, because I believe the new moon was in my birthday. I'm in Aries. I think I told you that already. So that's why I got so much energy. Wow. Yo, when I tell you it's off to the races, when I tell you it's time to get your shit in gear, especially in, I would say for Aries, if you're Aries listed specifically, because we're going through a 7th house transit right now. It's all about our one-on-one relationships, learning how to not only just be in the seat of being the emperor from tarot, or being the boss, or being the dictator, which Aries can be. All right, Aries is, if you remember, and can be somebody really super duper immature, or it could be ridiculously mature because they learn from their experiences pretty fast and they move on to the next one. But that's the key theme with this moon as well. Aries classically moves on to the next one too fast, and it may not stick something out. I know for myself, way too often in my relationships, I may not stick it out when things would get way too chaotic or too headache, or not able to just move on to the next stage so that we can conquer new demons and new devils, right? This is where I could tell you, as an Aries myself, I have struggled. So this is going to be really personal to me, especially because I have the moon in Aries as well. My moon is in Aries, my sun is in Aries, my Mercury is in Aries. So you can imagine I'm a pretty fucking explosive person. This is just what it is. So Libra is like my evil twin sister, right? Like Libra wants to be really posh and balanced and be able to kind of still throw out those Aries daggers that we do, except for they want to do it in an elegant and diplomatic, tactful way. This is why, if you're in Aries, I'm really excited for you the most, because I know you're ready to fucking move forward. I know you're like, yo, look, we got 4 planets in retrograde. By time October 20th, Saturn is out of retrograde. Mercury and Libra is out of retrograde. Jupiter, do we all love Jupiter? The one's gonna give us all the gifts and the gains, is out of retrograde. And I actually believe Aries specifically, that Jupiter and that Saturn will be transiting through your 11th house. So it's like, yo, this video is primarily for Aries. I ain't even gonna stunt with you. That's the angle I'm taking. And so what I would say is it's all about to really play in, well, how does this play in your relationship? How does it play into your sex life? You should want to check out my last video, because the new moon in Libra has not come yet, which is all about relationships, especially with Scorpio and Venus, which is about our attachments and possession and control that we want in our relationships. All right, the dominant, having domain in the relationships, that all plays into your sex life, right? Like on an energetic level, people don't want to be controlled. That's just a fact, right? On an energetic level, people don't want to be lied to. This has negative impacts on your sex life. Let this be known. Let this be clear. When you lie to people, it has a negative effect on your sex life. No one wants to really have sex with somebody they don't trust. Even if they still do it, nobody really wants to. No one wants to have sex with somebody that's not fully true, that is always controlling and dominating, and don't let any room for their fixed natures, the fixed parts of themselves, to stay this way and not allow any space. So Libra, all this energy in Libra, Mars in Libra, Mercury in Libra, that's just going to be out of retrograde by time October 20th comes, is really, my computer's going to die. Ooh, maybe I should breathe. All those Libras are really helping us to balance out the Aries, who's the opposite twin sister, right? So the moon and the sun right now are in opposition. Libra is the sun, moon, full moon going Aries, 29 degrees. That's fucking explosive, ladies and gentlemen. That's so much firepower. Even with Aries being a spark fire on, spark fire off, we put a full moon there, 29 degrees. That's a big motherfucking spark. I'm so super duper excited, because, you know, we really finally get to come out and balance, learn how to prioritize myself. I'm learning really how to prioritize myself, but not to forget others. All right, I'm learning how to realize that my wants and my needs, Aries thing, is not more important than anybody else's wants and their needs. Okay, they are equal, they are balanced, and we need to look at life and our relationships, our love life, who we date, who we don't date, in that perspective. I don't care if you're a woman, listen to this, and I don't care if you're a man, listen to this. I don't care if you're a man with primarily feminine energy and you want to always think that you can just keep exploding and being chaotic. I don't care if you're a woman with masculine energy and you want to be the fucking boss and take over from that perspective of really being the structure and only that. I just don't care. Like, all of our sex lives are impacted tremendously when we disrespect the next person across from us. All right, for me, this is a big thing coming up with this Aries energy, this Aries full moon. You know, Aries don't deal with liars very well. I don't deal with liars very well. This impacts your sex life. I think that this is major because Libra, Gemini, maybe even Aquarius, probably more Gemini and Libra, they have that energy where it's like they play with their words so much and they use them in just a sophisticated way that it's like, yo, whether you're bluffing, whether you're lying, or whether you're just contorting the truth, doesn't really fucking matter. This is going to impact your sex life, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't need to know, and you don't need to know, listen to this, when somebody actually is lying or not lying, you are impacted in a way that makes you feel either insecure, untrustworthy, or you don't trust the next person across from you. You start finding yourself becoming more cynical and thinking that everyone has ulterior motives. And, you know, we need to get out of energy. So I think Aries full moon puts light on some of that, especially after that Venus is coming out of Scorpio into, at this point in time, Sagittarius. We're all going to be feeling a lot more light. We're all going to be feeling a lot more optimistic, a little more daring. This is major. All the retrogrades finishing is why we're going to start feeling, especially Aries, but everybody, we're all going to start feeling like, boom, bitch, I'm ready to go. I've been 4 or 5 months with these retrogrades have started 4 or 5 months ago. They have been slowing us down. They've been making us stop, slow down, plan, become better humanitarians, become not so balancing out all this Libra energy, balancing all of our personal planets, the sun, the moon, Mercury, Mars, and with the collective planets, which all of us have to obey and abide by, right? So those retrogrades were really making sure that it was like, look, I have the power right now. Personal planets naturally will rule, being the sun, the moon, but in my opinion, these bigger planets, these big dogs, Jupiter, Saturn being a disciplinarian, Aquarius, which is well in Aquarius, Jupiter being there as well. Like, yo, your friends, your connections. I know 11th house for Aries, that transit specifically is going to be major. I also have a Scorpio ascendant, right? So I know Scorpio ascendant on the opposite during this time frame. Even right now, like before the Libra new moon, you should check out my Libra new moon video because this is going out before that happens. All right. It's in a 12th house transit. So that's like Scorpio in the dark. Oh, wow. It's crazy. All right, let me try to get some of these specifics in before my computer dies because I got a couple percent. So when Aries full moon comes in, full moon being all about illumination, right? Here's kind of what we're looking at. We're looking at, to get more specific in your relationship space, I'm going to just try to check in with the moon. All right, we already know the moon is in opposition. Actually, the moon is going to be opposition with Mars. So it's going to be on the opposite side of Mars. Mars is going to be in Libra, which is a little passive, a little aggressive, and like, could be a little tricky in a way where it's action and even its sex drive. Mars representing like our sex drive, right? In Libra, it's now saying like, look, balance and harmony is way more important to me, maybe than even the physical. Because like, you know, I ain't saying Libras don't like to have sex because that would be a lie. But what I am saying is they will, they might even think a little bit too much about who the person is or how they want to do it, or too many details might go through, and it takes away some of the natural forward aggression and energy of Mars, which is naturally in Aries, which is like boom, 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 get it done, get it done. So with that being in opposition with the moon, our emotional world being in Aries during this full moon, Aries is like, look, I want what I need now, especially because it's linked to my emotional stability. What this kind of does, in my personal opinion, being in opposition, it says, what does this do? This just has us pausing a little bit. It's just saying that, like, look, like, you know, we got to check in with our unconscious desire to, one, in our relationships, either overthink things way too much and being out of place, and also balancing that between just our wants and our needs. All right, that's what that kind of tells me in the space of our relationships there for this Aries full moon. Other than that, the moon is going to have a sextile with Jupiter, which is dope, super phenomenal. It's like, you know, I'm really seeing a lot of luck, a lot of prosperity that is going to just be at a place of harmony and a place of ease in your relationships, right? Like, so this for me tells me, it's like, yo, you know what? If you want to expand, I would even say, if you want to even expand what you look at as a part of your sexual practice, even from a spiritual level, because Jupiter has a lot to do with spirituality as well, Pisces being exalted there. From a spiritual level, it's like, this is now me looking at like learning how to breathe your sacral chakra energy, that orange chakra, the sex organ, the sex drive. Learn how to breathe in some of that air up your spine, which can now give you an orgasm that no nut, no ejaculation, no excretion, whether female or male, no orgasm could be better than when you get that sacral chakra energy. I'm gonna call this up your spine to the pineal gland. If you ever had this happen, it's like fucking electricity, magical electricity. All right, so this is what that kind of tells me right now. You have an opportunity to really connect your emotional world and your private life, what you do with your private life and your partner, really to create that incredible sex life. Right now you have a lot of luck and prosperity with that, and a lot of expansion happening, especially if you incorporate some spiritual practices, and just get a little weird with it, right? Because Jupiter's still in Aquarius, so it's like, get weird with it. And Aquarius is super duper kinky. Like, they're the ones that has like the BDSM type shit going on, but you'll never know, right? Because now the moon sextiling that, and the moon being private life, Jupiter and Aquarius being there, it's like, yo, try something new. Bring into illumination what your wants and your needs are, because let's not forget, Aries is really about wants and needs and wants being almost the same. They operate like an infant, all right? That's how I like to think of an Aries. So think back, about 6 months ago, I think around April 14th or so, that's my birthday, so I knew it was close to that. And ask, you know, for me, I was asking, like, I want a partner that I really could travel with. Like, I'm sick of going to new countries. I'm in Medellin, Colombia now. I'd love to show you the view, but I'm not leaving this setup space. I'm in Medellin, Colombia now, and it's like, you know, I was in Mexico before, Thailand, wherever, and it's like, I want partners that I could travel with. I want somebody who actually, you know, throws the respect on my name and doesn't try to treat me like somebody that they need to lie to, or treat me like somebody, because you see this lying theme, all right? Or treat me like somebody that they need to withhold information, or I'm trying to think of what were some of the things happening back in April. Me also learning how to make a decision and stick with a decision. This is some of my new moon goals in Aries, to make a decision of a partnership and who I want in my life, and to stick with it through thick and thin, which has been a really big theme coming up in my life recently. Like, to stick with it through thick and thin, to recognize that I have Aries in the 5th house stellium, right? So to recognize that the passion can run out, their passion can run dry in love, passion can run dry in your sex life, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't stick with it through thick and thin. That's some of my lessons for me personally. I would recognize, ooh, the rain is looking beautiful. It just started raining. I recognize that there's also a square happening with Saturn and the moon and during this time frame. So it's like, you know, just coming out of retrograde as well, a couple of days prior, Saturn being about structures. Yeah, this is kind of saying that, like, somewhere along the way, we're going to have to really just honor the fact that it's time to get real structure, it's time to get discipline, and it's time to use technology to help spread our message, to help spread what's happening with us in our private life, in our emotional subconscious world. Start spreading that to the collective, start spreading that to humanity. So this could, again, kind of interrupt a little bit of your sex life in a sense, because it's like, you may just want to kind of like dick off and do what you want to do with your partner or multiple partners. You got that Venus in Sagittarius, so it's like you're gonna have expansive attachments to the people that you're attracted to. So yeah, that's something to kind of look out for. But I'm trying to see what else is happening. There was a Mars and Pluto square. I think this is major. Mars being about your sex life. I think this is major because Mars right now is in Libra, Pluto is in Capricorn. Yeah, this is like a lot of career, a lot of who you're showing up with on the public stage being very different than what your sexual needs might be. And be careful about kind of being wishy-washy on, you know, not being able to choose a path, choose a direction, especially within your career. Recognize that square is going to actually create an opportunity for all of us. And the opportunity is going to be based off of, oh, am my equipment getting wet? I don't know. Yeah, that equipment, excuse me. That opportunity could be based off of really finding ways to recognize when passive aggressive can really be useful and when is it just harmful in your relationships, right? When is being passive aggressive in your relationship harmful? And even because Pluto and Capricorn is like status, reputation. It's also like marriage is like where Libra kind of begins marriage, but Capricorn is like where marriage is like solidified in contract form. So like you and your partner, let's say in your sex life on a public stage, how you guys show up, be mindful of where you might be superficial about this, you know, like really just doing things because you know of the benefit. I'm gonna have to end this sooner than soon, or press pause, because this shit is, I'm in a storm. There's a storm coming. But I think I'm okay. There's nothing tremendous there on my laptop. I'm just gonna cut this video shorter, ladies and gentlemen, because it's getting serious. And I'm having so much fun with this though. So here's what I'm gonna do. One, I'm gonna protect my laptop. I'm gonna just speak off of now the intuition. This Aries full moon is an opportunity. All right. This Aries full moon is a chance for you to really step into your identity. Step into the identity that you were looking to form and create back in, when I was in Mexico. It was April, my birthday or so. I remember I definitely had a position of feeling lonely. I think I was just breaking up with a girl around that time. I was dating a Mexican girl, and that shit hurt. And it hurt because I chose her, right? Like I chose her. And normally I used to just sit around, wait until somebody would choose me, and then I wouldn't really have any attachment to it because I didn't even make this decision. You chose me, right? So this is where, for me specifically, to give live examples where this stuff is coming in. Oh, I got some juicy stuff. A little bit separate from the sex life, but I'm gonna get there in a second. And so what I had to do, where I had to blaze my new trail, was to set some goals, set some manifestations around in my relationship space to improve my sex life, around being okay with choosing somebody and then not being angry about that, the moments that I'm not chosen back, right? Because it was almost like as soon as I chose her, she was like, I got a couple other people on the side. So you can imagine, like, she has some Libra placements in her, and that's kind of where this Libra energy is playing 6 months later on this Aries full moon, or the new moon video that you should have been watching before this, the one I did. Check out my interpretation. And thank you all for the 1,000 subscribers. We got it, we made it, we there. Today I got the news. I'm able to go live on this shit soon, so I'm gonna be doing that. But yeah, so that was kind of how that played into me. And you know, it was a time frame where, you know, from a sexual energy, I think I was literally more in like I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't having sex with anybody, and that's not entirely true. But what was happening was I was having sex with, boom, to that one person. I got to that one person, right? And so that's actually more accurate. Like, but even then, none of that was happening all at the same time. So that's where the truth lies in for me. The whole arrows being in Sagittarius really stand for truth. And if so, I would have told the truth. Like, I'm having sex with multiple people. But, off topic. You got to get a little juicy details on my life. So that's how some of that was playing in back in March. And now how it is for me in this full moon, things that are coming to illumination, is that my side is never more important than the next person's side. This is where it's illuminating in my specific life, with my moon, my emotional world. What's illuminating, I have an Aries moon as well, right? So what's illuminating, and it's at 28 degrees, and this energetic degrees at the 29 for this full moon for all of us. What is really coming into light out of my private life from that is that, you know, I have a very dominating personality. Like, I really feel like what's coming to light is, you know, my way is the way, or the highway, bitch. And it's kind of really that simple. And I had to really learn to be a little more diplomatic. This is what the new moon in Libra is teaching me. A couple of days that new moon in Libra goes off. This is what it's really teaching me, to learn how to be a little more diplomatic, a little more tactful, to not just be so abrasive and think that my way is the only way that exists. And I say this as a true Aries. A lot of Aries that I've met, I feel like they have their sun in Aries and they got a bunch of other different placements. I'm a hardcore Aries. Like, I am what I am. Especially with Scorpio ascendant. It's like, I really ain't got too much fear. So also on the positive side of that is me starting to step into that, what I just said, to not have so much fear. Because, you know, up until last year, 2020, when the grand conjunction happened between Saturn and Jupiter, you know, all fire signs, Sag, Aries, Leo. They were in a 10-year hell cycle, right? And so my 10-year hell cycle was what got me here because of all the relationships and what that hell cycle looked like for me. But now we're not anymore. And so as a part of that 10-year hell cycle, all fire signs listening to this, Aries, Leo, Sag, or you have predominant placements of Aries, Leo, Sag in your chart, what I really want to say is, fucking congratulations, because now you're coming out the dark. Especially with all these retrogrades finishing, you're going to now start to feel a lot lighter. Venus and Scorpio is leaving into Venus and Sag. You're going to feel a lot lighter. Retrograde from freaking Aquarius, Mercury, Jupiter, and something else, Mars. I don't know what else. That's not Mars, but something else. It's all ending. It's all coming to a close. And so now it's time to think about what plans did you look to start back in April and kind of go back and restart that shit, right? Because the Mercury retrograde is really having to look at our old relationships, ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends are coming back. They're coming out the woodworks. Just relationships with your, how you saw maybe the relationship with your mother versus how you see it now, how you saw the relationship with your best friend versus how you see it now. All that is time to take a look back and recognize what was the learning lesson here. And I think this is really where it's time to take the pause on that Aries energy before. Recognize that these retrogrades was slowing us down right before this full moon in Aries, because when full moon in Aries is done, by the time that happens, all retrogrades are done. So we're no longer moving in slow motion. Planets are no longer moving backwards. They're going full speed, right? After they go direct, there's a little week or so that you should check in with the shadow period. Recognize that shadow periods, things will still kind of come out from your unconscious, your private life, the moon being part of your private life, your roots, and check in. I had to so some of the things for me was what's the relationship with my mom, right? The moon, mom, and how did that relationship with my mom play a role in the relationship with my girlfriends, all right? Also, Saturn going retrograde, really I had to start getting a better viewpoint of even my father, right? Ooh, I just gotta chill. Better viewpoint of my father, and it's in many ways I feel like he wasn't there for me in the way I wanted him to be there. But what I started recognizing this full moon coming into play, I'm kind of getting my downloads early, yo. I'm ready. I'm with it. 2 on the screen, baby. I'm seeing it. It's 5, 4, 3, 2. So I had to recognize that, actually my father supported me in ways that most fathers never will. And actually he did so in the right masculine energy that he was supposed to. And I had to recognize at what point growing up mostly with my mom did I rely primarily on my feminine energy and got used to that. And when I was with women who were in their feminine energy or even in their toxic masculine and they needed to be in their feminine, they were showing me how I was in my toxic masculine. On some real, and I had to recognize raising my voice. My most recent relationship, this is really what was reflected to me. Raising my voice, it ain't the answer, right? Arguing, it ain't the answer. Being able to stay calm and clear minded, which is masculine energy. Aries is a masculine sign, even though it may struggle to be clear minded. To recognize that, my short outburst of rage, fury, call it what you want, that they're short lived, and that it's part of my nature, especially with the Aries and Mercury. Recognize that and forgive myself on that, and bring into light that I can just take some time away from myself, and that's okay, rather than being super dramatic. 5th house Aries stellium, rather than being super dramatic in ways that may not fully reveal itself to me. So these are some of the ways I want to really stay personal with this. I want to stay emotionally vulnerable and give you the real, because I don't know who this is really helping, but I'm here to do that, and I'm really dedicated and committed to that. So I feel like in order to do that, I gotta lead by example. Can't expect you to do anything jack squat diddly nada that I'm not leading by example to do. And Aries, if you're listening to this right now, you're a leader. Everybody with Aries in your chart, check in it around that 25 to 30 degrees, or 29 degrees or so. This is around that space where you want to check in with that part of your chart, because that is the part that will be illuminated in your life. All right, so if it's in your Mercury, that part of your Mercury is gonna be illuminated. So for me, it was my sun, my moon, and my Mercury. And I'll be honest, shit's real heavy in a way, but it's also super liberating, because I can feel the restraints coming off me. And it's like, yo, I'm an Aries, so it's like I'm ready to go. I've been ready to go. I'm always ready to go. So check in those areas of your chart, because that's probably the area of your chart that you've been ready to go, but you've been held back. And I'm telling you right now that the fucking wait is over, baby. We still got a lot to go through until October 18th. Those retrogrades aren't really going to start lifting, but when it does, you're going to love it. And it's week after week, and they're going to all start lifting. So this is really my Aries new moon interpretation. If you're looking for a natal reading with me and you made it this far, that's why I tell you now, because that means you're a real one. If you're looking especially with your relationship space to create an incredible sex life, I do have one-on-one mentoring that you can go through with me. But other than that, even if you're just looking at nothing to do with sex, like, I'm still in the space. I do read astrology natal charts, but it is a part of what I really, really enjoy, because I mean, who doesn't fucking like sex? Who doesn't want to have healthy sex, either more sex or even intentional sex or magical sex? And there's so many different forms of sex. No sex, semen retention. These are all the things I'm going to be teaching you on this channel. That's why you want to hit that subscribe button. I want to say thank you for rocking with me, for hitting that subscribe button. And also, you know, the last thing I wanted to say that's beautiful, you're going to start seeing fucking wins. You're going to start seeing wins, baby. You're out here winning. I feel so fucking free. I just hit my 1,000 mark on subscribing today. I got banned off of IG. I didn't go back. I said I'm going fucking forward the way the Aries would do. So now is the time to go forward, ladies and gentlemen. With all this retrograde energy, by the time you watch this video on the 20th of October for the Aries full moon, all that retrograde energy is done. All that back up, slow down, think about it shit is done. It's time to take what you have really had to process, forced to do so with the Scorpio and Venus, and apply the information. That's what's happening. Look back about 6 months ago to April to see what were you going through, what manifestations and goals were you setting back then, and then you're gonna get a very clear direction. I need to do the same for myself, of what's happening now, what you're looking to bring into this world. All right, it's a great time to start a new fucking project. All right, it's a great time to start a new project. It's a great time to do something that you're super passionate about. It's a great time to check in with how you identify with yourself, and to do so like a bold motherfucking Aries would. Sometimes you gotta throw a curse word in there because of motherfucking Aries would. Bam. All right, so even the cursing was a part of it for me. I had to recognize, even in my relationship, my mom, like, cursing was like, oh, never ever did it. She never ever cursed in person with her. Never has she heard me curse. I'm 30 years old now. But I had to recognize where the areas in my life where, one, respect my elders. Okay, I'm not going to curse in her presence. But two, on the opposite end, you know, let's say this is my creative channel, I would hold back some of my energy because of some of that. So again, Libra retrograde is starting to help us in our one-on-one interactions. Mercury in retrograde in Libra on one-on-one interaction is showing us where do we need to look back and create a more balanced and harmony. Because that doesn't mean I'm just going to start now cursing with everybody, including her. No, that doesn't mean that in that scenario. It changes from time to time. But Libra, remember what it teaches you, and what it's teaching us all leading up to this full moon, is how to be diplomatic, tactful, fair, just, harmonious, and balanced. Okay, not ever leaning too far on the left, not ever leaning too far on the right. Taking in your space, this space, and the people in the middle, and then with all the collective information from an objective standpoint, not from an emotional standpoint like an Aries would do, from an objective standpoint, then you make your decision. And then don't get passive aggressive when you make it, but then add in the Aries, which is the balance, to go ahead and get that shit done. It's Pernell Bobby checking in, baby. I love you. Thank you for subscribing. Anyone looking for a one-on-one natal reading with me, let's do it. If you're looking to get into some of my events, let's do it. You want to see me start going live, tell me your topics. I'm looking to leverage astrology and help you create an incredible sex life doing so.